About 20 minutes to the top of the hour, 8:40 is our time. Welcome back to the Morning Drill. Joining us this morning is Mr. Mark Russell. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. I like Morning Drill. I like that.
Well, how are you today?
Well, I'm good. I'm arriving in Pennsylvania, and I'm not running for anything.
Oh,
Help me out. If nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will serve, however.
Well, you might have a shot. Our primary's less than 2 weeks away. You must be having a field day with this election cycle.
More than I deserve. I must say we've reached the point now where the jokes themselves are masquerading as candidates. I was watching Mr. Trump last night with his family, and this was the good Donald, if you notice. This was the pussycat. And so he could be his own running mate. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And I think he's probably good for America because as he becomes more self-absorbed, more full of himself, he could explode, and that would be an unlimited source of natural gas without fracking. But it is a field day. The thing is, if you don't think that Bernie Sanders could be Hillary's running mate, you're just not cynical enough. I mean, it could happen. My problem is that these things are happening so fast and so quick and so fast. I'm kind of overloaded. You know, to use another oil analogy, this is a gusher of material, and I'm just running around with a bucket trying to collect it. And so I would take two issues and put them together just to save time. For example, Bill Cosby and Hillary Clinton go into a bar. And I got your attention, didn't I? And so Bill Cosby and Hillary Clinton go into a bar, and Cosby gives Hillary a drink, and when she wakes up, they're both in prison. So that's just for the folks that might think I'm a little bit liberal, but I have no convictions at all. It's bipartisan.
But Mark, to have these jokes and to come up with this material, part of you has to have an interest or a love of politics. I mean, it's one of those things you love to hate, right, or hate to love.
Yeah, you know, I've lived in Washington D.C. most of my life, and I love it. I take people sightseeing. I love the whole scene there. And I hate it when they bash Washington, and then I turn around and bash it myself. I've always said I live in Washington, D.C. for the same reason a coal miner lives near the shaft. You know, I mean,
right.
And it's always been that way. For 200 years. I loved looking at the old cartoonists and the way that Teddy Roosevelt. I would love to have been around for Teddy Roosevelt. Or Mark Twain said that Teddy Roosevelt was certifiably insane, and he wasn't even using any nuance there. Just made a flat. He literally believed that Teddy Roosevelt was insane. And then, what's Mark Twain's most famous statement is, "Suppose you're in Congress. Suppose you're an idiot. But I repeat myself."
That's right. Well, so I have to ask, when you hear people say, "Oh, this is the worst political presidential race I've ever experienced," what do you say to those folks when you look back at history?
Well, it is the worst, I suppose. It's just most unforgettable. I think when they get to the convention in Cleveland, we will get a civics lesson. Young people will get a civics lesson. And for the older people, I mean, if you like Chicago 1968 convention, you're going to love Cleveland in 2016.
And nobody likes Cleveland.
No, well, Cleveland doesn't deserve what probably is going to, being blown up by the whole process there. I mean, we're talking tear gas. We deserve it.
Oh, my goodness.
We deserve the hoopla. Yeah.
Is there more or less material for you to deal with now that there are fewer candidates in the Republican field?
No. What we do in showbiz to maintain the old material is just change the tense of the verbs around. And so you say, gee, I miss Jeb Bush. The poor guy. I mean, it was so sad to see Jeb drop out like that. In the worst moment, he had a heckler one day, and he was making a speech, and the heckler yelled out, "Get off the stage, it's over." And Jeb said, "But Mother."
Oh.
Don't but mother me. Go to your room. I'll miss little Marco Rubio. He was treated very badly by his own Republicans when he came out in favor of immigration reform. I mean, the man is a proud son of Cuban immigrants, but the Republicans sent him the message. They said, "We'll give you the nomination, Marco, but we're going to have to deport your parents." So I'm doing half the show here that I'm going to be doing tonight.
You're going to be performing in Meadville this evening.
Absolutely, yeah, at Allegheny College. And, it's the thing about your area. I have been to your oil museum a couple of times, and the last time, my wife and I took friends of ours from West Texas, and they are in the oil business, and they did not know about Titusville. They did not know that the first oil in the world was discovered in Titusville. As I recall, I think the date was something like August 25th, 1859, they discovered oil. And then on August 27th, they discovered the oil lobbyist. And he too came crawling out of the ground. So they didn't know that. They were in the oil business themselves in Texas, but they didn't know about Titusville. I love that museum, and we picnic there. There's a picnic area. Just love it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Again, you'll be at Allegheny College tonight, and a lot of people looking forward to seeing you perform. Now, you kind of retired a little bit, didn't you? What brought you back?
That was a big mistake. I did that. Well, that was about 3 years ago, and so I was retired, but I still kept writing material because it's a disease. You don't just stop. And so, the only audience, like if I was with some people in a restaurant, and I'd just be getting to the punchline, and then the waiter would show up with a list of the specials, and I said, "This is awful." And actually, what happened was, and this, I don't know if many people remember this, about 3 years ago, some congressmen went over to the Middle East, and they got drunk, and they went skinny dipping in the Sea of Galilee. And I said, "That's it. I'm coming out of retirement."
So that's what did it for you. Skinny dipping.
That actually happened. So yeah, I'm back. I've been back for about 3 years, and so I'm enjoying it and traveling around the country and doing the stuff.
Well, it sounds like you have a great opportunity to see the country and talk to a lot of folks. What's your interpretation of where we are as a country, and what are people saying to you when you're talking with them?
Well, the anger. First of all, they say, "Is Trump giving you enough material?" And I say, "No, he's charging me for it." But then it's like the anger is legitimate. By the way, the young people are flocking to Bernie because of student loans, and he's got some legitimate griefs. But now both he and Hillary are getting kind of Trumpian themselves, calling each other names and so forth. But so the question is, and you hear this debated all the time, people say, "Well, have you ever seen anything as bad as things are today? Have you ever seen things as bad as they are today?" And I say, "Yes, I have. It was that period between July of 1776 and April of 2016. So there's always something.
There's always
so
something.
The question, the way I look at it is that are America's best days ahead of us? And I say absolutely. Our best days are ahead of us as long as none of the candidates win.
Mark Russell joining us.
That's probably a little too cynical, but anyway, that's we will survive in spite of ourselves.
Absolutely. Mark Russell performing tonight at Allegheny College. Great to have you on the program this morning, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you down the road.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Mark Russell, again, great honor talking with him this morning, Mark.
It was. I found him to be very insightful. I think he is very perceptive. Of course, he has to be, but very perceptive about the political scene.
Yep. Mark Russell, The Laughter of Politics. You can check out his website, markrussell.net. Markrussell.net. And again, he'll be at Allegheny College this evening. And a big thanks to Josh Sheretz for setting that up with us. That's fantastic. So thank you very much, Josh. And final timeout this morning. We'll be back to wrap things up. 8:51 is our time. This is the Morning Drill on Stream Television and the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network.
By the schoolyard, I'll see me and Julio down by the schoolyard.